Uh, I would first like to thank the organizers of the 14th World Conference on Sport for All for inviting me to give the presentations entitled Programs and Policies, the Practical and Theoretical Foundation of Sport for All. For Sport for All movement. And then also it's a great pleasure for me to return to Beijing after 3 years after the Olympic Games, a truly outstanding games and a credit to the National Olympic Committee of China and also to the city of Beijing. Last year, I was also in Beijing to discuss future trends for sport for all, and these ongoing seminars and conferences are an important legacy from the Beijing Olympic Games. The main themes in my presentation today to be outlining 3 main themes. First is theoretical foundation of sport for all, and then long-term planning policies for sport facilities development, and the last things, practical programs to facilitate sport for all. The theoretical foundation for sport for all, as we all know, expressed in the Olympic Charter. The practice of sport is a human right. Every individual must have the possibility of practicing sport without discrimination of any kind, and the Olympic spirits, which require mutual understanding with a spirit of friendship, solidarity, and fair play. This is the Olympic Charter. Sport and exercise is also a human right, a natural and normal part of daily life, and governments of all types have a responsibility to provide the necessary infrastructure, programs, officials, referees, equipment, and coaches to allow all people to participate in daily sport and exercise. The theoretical foundations, the positive benefits of exercise. The positive benefit of exercise to both mental and physical health provides strong justifications for the inclusion of sport for all as a human right, a necessary and normal part of daily life for everybody, for everyone. At least 30 minutes of physical activities each and every day should be understood to be the normal and natural part of a balanced, healthy life to allow the body to achieve its optimal physical and mental developments. Government, as we know, invests substantial funds in the preparations of a small number of elite athletes for major events such as the Olympic Games. However, the real benefit of elite sport to society is to provide an example to encourage all members of the society to be physically active, and governments with other key stakeholders such as large corporations have a responsibility to ensure the effective programs and policies are in place to facilitate such mass participation in sport and physical activities. Long-term planning policies for facility development. A common problem in many countries is the lack of sporting facilities that are available for elite athletes and the general community to utilize. This is a particular problem in the developing world where funding for such sporting facilities from the governments and private sector is limited and population are often quite large. In addition to the limitation in necessary infrastructure, there is also often a lack in competent personnel and management staff to effectively operate these facilities. Compounding this problem is poor in planning. When the opportunity to develop sporting facilities are presented, and in my presentation today, I want to outline some important considerations for the long-term planning for sport facilities to directly address this program. In Indonesia, every 4 years, a national multi-sport event, where we refer as PON, was organized. All 33 Indonesian provinces sent their best athletes to compete, and maybe more than 10,000 athletes and 3,000 officials were there. For example, in 2008, PON was organized in east of Kalimantan. Many millions of dollars were spent constructing the sporting venues to host this important event. However, there was no plan developed or funding prepared for the use of the sporting facilities. So after 2 weeks the event was finished, until now, just a few short years later, many of the new sporting venues have been abandoned and are not being used. So the government now starts with all of the NOCs of the provinces to build like a school program for these venues. Millions of dollars have been wasted, and the opportunity to provide a lasting legacy to the community from this event has been missed. It is changed now. In 2012 PON, that is going to be held in South Sumatra, many of the sporting facilities have been developed in the school system to ensure their continued use after the event has ended. Also, they can use these major multinational sporting events will ensure continued use of the newly developed sporting facilities. Such strategies must be put in place to ensure newly developed sporting facilities are used well after the initial event has ended. Long-term planning policies for sport facilities development. The failure to make optimal use of sporting facilities happens frequently in developing countries and is a result of poor long-term planning and inadequate budgeting. Organizers often plan only for the major events and do not consider the long-term use of these facilities, and the opportunity to provide greatly needed sporting facilities for the schools and communities is missed. The cost and life cycle of sporting facilities. However, the commonly accepted international standard for the life cycle of most sporting facilities is 50 years. To ensure 50 years of productive use from the sporting facility, then in a amount of approximately 1.5 to 2% of the current cost of of the facility is required to be spent in maintenance each year of the 50 years period. So this means that over the 50 years, life cycle of the sporting facilities, that the initial construction cost represents only about 30% of the total cost, and the remaining 70% of the total costs are required for maintenance purposes over the following 50 years at the rate of about 1.5 to 2% per year. Additional costs for the staffing and operation of the sporting facilities are also required to be budgeted to make the facilities operational. Long-term planning policies for sport facility developments. An excellent example is successfully used long-term sporting facility in the Sydney Olympic Park that was used to host the Sydney Olympic Games in 2000. 11 years after the successful hosting of the Sydney Olympics, the sporting facilities have been well maintained and are still being used to develop some of Australia's best athletes, and also to provide a world-class recreational facility used by millions of members of the general public on a user-pay system. To ensure the sporting facilities is affordable for members of the public and also to have sufficient funding for operation and maintenance, the New South Wales state government subsidized the Sydney Olympic Park facility with about 4.2 million in funding each year. This is the information that I get from them. These funds are justified as a useful public service to the community of Sydney and are a real and lasting legacy from the Sydney Olympic Games 2000. Such long-term planning needs to be a feature of the development of all sporting facilities. A 50 years long-term planning policy needs to be developed with an appropriate budget for operations and maintenance and an understanding of the important place such sporting facilities serve both for the development of elite athletes as well as community sport for all. Assets management sportwear. This is just an example, as Max version 12 can be used to effectively manage the long-term maintenance of sport facilities, and the education and training of sport facility managers on such a system should be a fundamental aspect to all potential bids to host sporting events, to ensure there is a real and lasting legacy for the community to use after the completion of the event. Multi-use of sport facilities. All large sporting facilities should have a multi-use plan where there is an equal mix of patronage, like I informed before. Venues West manage many of the leading sporting facilities. Such a multi-use policy for sporting facilities is required to ensure that they remain a financially sustainable long-term facilities. City planning and practical strategies. The challenge in a major city such as Beijing or Jakarta to provide for adequate sports and recreational facilities for its millions of inhabitants is a substantial one. For example, in Jakarta, the city's governor closes the road to cars in the center of the city every Sunday morning from 6 to 9, even though there are so many complaints about it. and only permits the use of bicycles. Thousands of the city's residents come out every Sunday to ride their bikes through the city's streets. It's truly a magnificent sight and a relatively simple means of providing the opportunity for sport for all for a city-based community. On occasion, the Indonesian presidents also and the first family joined the bike ride. Other cities throughout the world should follow also this example, especially that they are not having all the bicycles in a lane, so that all people could enjoy a Sunday morning riding around the city street with their families. There is no need for any infrastructure to make this possible, just the will and foresight from the local governments to close the road for a few hours each week. For city planning, well-planned development in cities is also very much needed. The planning of residential apartment within walking distance of offices is a great way to reduce traffic and pollution, while increasing the amount of regular exercise performed by city workers. An idea that needs more attention brought to it. Fitness facilities in park. I have this good example from my dear colleagues, Mr. Thomas Bach from Germany. Some local government have placed basic fitness equipment such as chin-up bar, set-up chair, weight poles, etc., with instruction sign informing members of the general public how to perform basic exercises. This is a cheap and effective way of providing some basic fitness equipment to facilitate exercise for a wide variety of the general public. And also schools programs. In Indonesia, was fortunate enough to receive US 20,000 grant from Olympic Solidarity for a Sport for All programs to develop exercise videos and associated written materials to be used by Indonesian school children from 7 to 14 years of age. It is our hope that this program will aid the physical development of millions of Indonesian school children over many years, and other countries can also make use of this program. The developed exercise program and videos are available from Indonesian Olympic Committee website. The role of corporate fitness programs. Large business also have a role to play by providing their facilities, expertise, and flexibility in their working hours for corporate fitness programs. Prior to work, during lunchtime, or after work, employers should be encouraged to undertake sport and exercise activities in facilities provided by their employer. Such program has been shown to improve employee health and happiness, and also increase worker productivity and reduce the number of sick days taken by employees. It can also be a very effective team building policies that aids worker cohesion and reduce personal disputes in the workplace. For example, in my country, CEO of a Garuda Airlines take the staff to play after working hours, and they build such a facilities for them. And also in corporate fitness program, the costs associated with establishing a corporate fitness program are quite low and simply involve the provision of maybe just locker and shower facilities, exercise area, and some basic fitness equipment, fitness staff to supervise an exercise session for the workers. And this cost will often be regained through the increased worker productivity and reduced health costs gained from healthier, happy, and more positive staff members. This is the example from volleyball. The mesh volley program conducted by International Volleyball Federation is an excellent example of programs designed to greatly increase mesh sport participation with little cost. Many more community and society-based programs and initiatives needs to be developed. All international and national federations needs to have an equal balance in their programs for both elite sport as well as sport for all activities. Successfully elite sport programs must be seen as a means of inspiring mass participations in the sport and programs which allow for this must be developed by the international and national federations. And the summary of Sport for All policies. Sport and exercise is a human right, must be provided by governments and other key stakeholders such as large corporations with the mental and physical health of their community and employees. So for the large corporation, they can use CSR for this. Long-term 50 years planning for sporting facilities is required, with 1.5 to 2% of the total cost of the facility used for maintenance each year. Integrating the development of new sporting facilities used for major events into the school sport system can be a good means of ensuring the continued use of these facilities after the conclusion of the major event. For sport facilities to be cost-effective, they need to be multi-use in their operations, with approximately 33% for elite, recreational, and commercial uses. Sporting facilities need to be financially supported by governments to be operational, and such costs are justified by the improvement in health, happiness, and well-being that sporting facilities provide to the community. Basic fitness facilities should be provided in part to facilitate sport for all activities. 30 minutes of activities each and every day should be understood to be a normal and natural part of a balanced, healthy life to allow the body to achieve its optimal physical and mental development. Summary for Sport for All programs. Elite sporting program must be used to inspire the populations to be more active, with facilities and program must be made available to facilitate this international and national sporting federation should develop programs such as mass volley program to facilitate sport for all. The population should not be viewed only as spectator by international and national federation, but potential participants who are inspired by the elite athletes to be more active in their own life. Car-free bike days should also be implemented. Large corporations should develop corporate fitness programs to improve all the healthy life. Simple exercise program, and also each individual has a personal responsibility to participate in regular sport and physical activities each and every day. So this is my presentations, and thank you very much for your time.